This podcast is part of the Pod Syndicate family. For more criminally compelling shows, articles, and conversations, head to wearepodsyndicate.com.
Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
Welcome to What's on Tap podcast. Today we are once again the powers of our beer knowledge have combined to bring together this podcast.
Wow, do we have individual beer powers that combine into a greater being?
Yes, we do. We are the Voltron of beer podcasting.
Wow.
Yes, I know it's
I
exciting
want the
times.
powers of bear and hawk.
I'll take the powers of yeast and hops.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Smart.
There we go. I think the beer will taste better.
Yes.
So
You brought some beers.
I did bring some beers today. A while ago, I was at McKellar and Friends beer shop in Torvahallen in Copenhagen, and I just happened across two beers that are both collaborations from the same breweries. So I don't know that I've ever been in a position where I've been able to get both of them at the same time. So what's happened is Northern Monk out of the UK and Gamma Brewing out of Denmark have both done a collaboration beer, and we just so happen to have both of them here for the show. I believe the only difference between the two beers is the hops that are being used in the beers.
Okay.
So I think this should be a fun experiment to see how much hops can really change a beer.
But presumably one of them is made at brewery A and the other is made at brewery B.
Right. I mean, so there are other contributing factors,
yes,
like water and exposure to air and brewing equipment and
brewing assistants, dropping stuff into the kettle.
Yep. So of course there are a lot of different things that can go wrong.
I get it.
But all things being equal, we'll just assume that those are not the cases.
Okay.
That mostly it's the hops difference. So if we try, what is this? Northern Monk.
Patron's Project
7.06. Esbenborg Jensen.
He's the photographer.
Well, that's the name of the beer as well. Well, I guess no. The
the
beer name is Humle,
What?
and the patron's name is Esbenborg Jensen.
Okay.
But the beer name is Humle.
So it just hops.
Yes. And this is using Idaho 7, Citra BBC, and Mosiac.
Cool.
All right. Comes in at an 8.2% ABV. Yeah.
It smells piney and kind of fruity.
Yeah. You're definitely, it's kind of a little resinousy.
Yep.
Off the top.
My head retention is crazy.
Yeah,
and yours has disappeared.
Well, actually, it's still pretty good for something. I mean, I think I poured one of them first.
Okay.
So the first one has a bit more head retention, but when you agitate it slightly, it really foams up into a nice, like, frothy head, which looks really appealing, I think.
Yeah.
But all right, cheers.
That's right. It is slightly resinous.
Yeah. There's a bit of a tartness to it.
Oh, I'm not getting that. Huh.
I don't think so. I think maybe that's the... Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just like, this guy really good. The aftertaste is even better.
This is rich and thick.
It is.
It has a really good viscosity.
Yeah, I think the tartness is coming from the citrus kind of notes to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's the citra hops is
Maybe.
giving it a slightly lemony citrus flavor to it.
Yeah, okay, a slightly lemony flavor, but it's more of a fruity lemony flavor than like sour.
It's not sour, and this is one of those weird things where the English language has a lot of words for these, and they all mean slightly different in different ways.
Yeah, tart, sour.
Right, so tart can run a wide gamut from like just like jaw puckeringly like intensely sour, or it can just be a slight fruitiness to it.
Yeah, I get it.
So
in Sweden, we have the same actually. Surt, syrligt.
Yeah.
They mean slightly different things, but it's all sour.
Yeah, that's what I have with this thing. It's not like it's not tart in the like, ooh, that's tart. It's more like, ooh, that's a nice additional flavor that I wasn't expecting in the beer.
Yeah, it's not a sour beer.
It's not a sour beer. No.
Means.
I'm not trying to imply it's a sour beer by any chance as well.
It's really tasty.
I know. It's very. I think it's well rounded. It's very full bodied. When you agitate in your mouth, it really brightens, and it's very playful. I think in a lot of ways.
More and more, the lemon is coming through. I feel like the aftertaste is much richer, fuller of flavor than the initial flavor, which almost is a little bit watery. It's like the first thing that hits your mouth is like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, it doesn't overwhelm you with flavor. Like it's not just like a hot bomb. It's not just slapping you in the
no.
It's not a cold slap in the face of hops. But it is extremely drinkable. And when you get 8.2%, this beer is dangerous. Because I could easily have a couple of these and think, man, that was a fun treat. And then be like, ugh.
As opposed to otherwise?
I know. But it's so palatable and easy to drink that you may not realize it is 8.2% until you're on your second or third one, and then you're like, man, I'm hammered for some reason. Like, oh, okay.
So weird.
This explains everything.
So what would you give this beer?
Honestly, I think I'm going to give this like a 4.25.
I'm either there or on a 4. Somewhere between 4.16333.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it too, but I'm just rounding up because I'm kind of like, I think it's really good. It's one of the better IPAs I've had in a while. It really just is such a pleasure to drink that I feel like...
if you give it a 4.25, then I think I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay.
But it's a strong 4.
Yeah, it's a strong 4. It's a lighter 4.25.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Okay, so what do we have? Oh, sorry. We need to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Because
we are as you know, we have joined we are Pod Syndicate, which is a collective of podcasts, and of course we want to promote the other podcasts that are on the show.
Of course.
So
I always wanted to be syndicated.
We are syndicated now. So enjoy these, check out these fine podcasts, and we'll be right back.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and welcome to Film Bastards, a podcast where 3 friends, 2 of them married and 2 of them podcasting life partners, chat everything from new releases, trailers, news, and an eclectic mix of other film goodies, and many tangents. You can find them by searching your podcast provider, or check them out on Twitter and Instagram by searching Film Bastards. You never know, you might like it, and if you don't, well, we don't really give a Y'all remember me. Y'all remember me.
The Mulberry Boys, every Friday night. On the show, you better know they keep it tight. ETL is back and the J-Strom's in the zone. Introduce the co-host, he doesn't do it alone. PCZ is about to hold court. You know he's on the headset, you can hear him snort. Pop culture, movies, TV shows, and games. Rotten Tomatoes, reviews, news, and Blu-rays. Foggy don't play around, he will bust a drop fast. Welcome to the Entertainment Landfill Podcast, the Jason and Steven Show. It's the Jason and Steven Show. What? The Jason and Steven Show. It's the Jason and Steven Show.
Okay.
We're back! Woo!
You're way too excited about this. What do we have next, Martin?
I don't know, you brought it.
I thought you could pick up the can and read it as easily as I could.
Oh, I have to pick up a can? What am I now, a manservant? Oh, I am your manservant.
Yes.
So this is Gamma's, let's call it Gamma's version of Gamma and Northern Monk's collaborations. It's a double IPA called Adaptation. It clocks in at 8% ABV.
And you have to go on Untappd to read what the hops are.
I have to go on the internet, so it has many various hops. I know it has
It has 3.
Idaho 7.
But neither one of them share the same hops. So, like, if this one had Citra BBC and Idaho 7 and Mosaic.
And this one has Citra, Mosiac, and Galaxy.
There you go.
So, like 2/3 match.
Well, I don't know. Is there a difference between Citra and Citra BBC?
I don't know.
I don't either. Mm-hmm. I've never heard of Citra BBC. I've only heard of Citra. But there's a different varietal on the Citra.
Best before cryo. No.
Yeah.
Doesn't smell as much as the Northern Monk
it's a
one.
little cleaner in the smell.
Beautiful hazy, orangey, yellow
but
color.
This one didn't retain the head like the Northern Monk version. And even when you agitate it, it begrudgingly reforms a head, whereas the Northern Monk version just foamed right up, which was really quite nice. All right, it looks a little thinner. I will say that while the lacing on the glass for the Northern Monk version was the lacing really held. This one looks like it's going to be a little bit thinner and not quite as fulfilling in the mouthfeel.
Okay, let's try it.
Cheers.
See if you're right. So this one actually does have a tartness, more so than the Northern Monk beer.
You think so?
I think so. Let me try again. It tastes more like tea, like Earl Grey.
So I find this to be sweeter.
Yes, that
than the Northern Monk version. I get the tea part, and the aftertaste is kind of a bit of a tea flavor, but I get that quite often with
herbal-ish.
Yeah, I get that quite often though with a lot of IPAs is that tea kind of. Yeah. Huh. Sometimes you're more sensitive to certain flavors than other things. I think when it comes to that kind of tea flavor, I pick it up really easy in IPAs. Whereas there are other flavors I just completely miss out on a lot of the times.
Yeah, I have. Fair enough. People get different flavors from different beers. I have a friend who, whenever he drinks a New England IPA, he says that they taste like liver paste.
Yeah,
and he doesn't like that.
Really, a liver paste beer. I can't understand why you wouldn't.
Liver paste is super delicious.
Right. No, I'm not saying that liver paste isn't good. I'm just saying if I'm drinking beer. And other people are like, oh, this is so hoppy and floral and fruity. He's like, liver paste.
But he's wrong. New England IPAs do not taste like liver paste.
They don't. But that's in his mind. Those are the flavor connectors that work in his brain that produce those flavors. So, you're right. He is wrong. But that's how his mind is interpreting until he retrains the thought processes and the connectors. It'll never work for him.
The tea character of this, it's not doing me any favors. I enjoy the first beer way more now that I'm comparing them.
Yeah, and I think the first beer is a much better beer. I'll be honest with you. I think they're both very fine beers. If we didn't have the comparison of the two, I think that we might feel a little different from Gamma. But when you try them side by side, and they're like they said, they're basically the same brewing process, the same style of beer, very close to ABV. I wouldn't be surprised if the IBUs and the gravity and everything are also very similar. But you can really taste that there is a difference in the quality between the two.
Yes, I'm ready to call it that these are two different beers that are probably intended to be different beers. They might be, they might have been made in like the same time when Gamma and Northern Monk were like collaborating. So they were like, oh, we're in Denmark at this point, let's brew. When can you come over? Oh, let's brew. And they made two different beers out of it.
Yeah, they are two different beers. We know that for sure.
But I think they're not intending them to be so similar.
All right, let's just take a quick look-see at the two beers. They look virtually the same in color. And the smell is... It's not so dissimilar that if you were to blind taste comparison, you would think they were not the same beer. But I mean, definitely when you put in such different hops, you're definitely going to create a different beer. And also, like I said, the water profiles are probably very different based on what the water you get. Should be Copenhagen versus the water that you get in northern Manchester, right? Is where Northern Monk is?
I think so. There are 3 breweries that cooperate quite commonly. They make a beer called NLM or MLN. You get it.
Yeah.
Leeds, Manchester, and Newcastle. And Wylam's are from Newcastle. So if
so I'm sorry.
so Track, Wylam, and Northern Monk. I think those are the
Northern Monk is from Leeds.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's
Then Track is from Manchester.
yeah. NMB Co.
NMB Co. Ooh.
Yeah. That's the where you can find on Twitter.
Cool. So what should I go first with the rating on this one?
Yeah, sure, if you want to.
The tea character is just growing and growing in my mouth. I need to give this a 3.5. But it's bumping up the Northern Monk.
I know.
I appreciate the Northern Monk way more now.
I will say that I am also right there with you. I think it's still a very good beer, and I think it's quite delicious. But I'm going to give it a 3.75.
Yeah, I think maybe my expectations are too high because I've had a lot of good Gamma beers.
Gamma does really good stuff. Yeah.
During 2019, every single double IPA or even IPA from Gamma was spot on.
Yeah, and they've been doing a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah.
And the proliferation of their production is outstanding. I mean, it seems like they're putting out 1 to 2 cans a week, every other week, something like that. I mean, it is a massive amount of beer that they're releasing into the market, and it goes really fast too. I mean, it flies off the shelf. I don't think they have their own. I think they just opened their own web shop, right?
I don't know.
Okay, but they don't have a store in their brewery. They send it all out through the different sites and networks and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, those are the 2 beers this week. Check us out online at what'sontappodcast.com, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify.
WeArePodSyndicate.com.
Yes.
Woo, woo, woo.
And until next time,
keep drinking, you dum-dums.
This podcast is part of the Pod Syndicate family. For more criminally compelling shows, articles, and conversations, head to wearepodsyndicate.com.